Vanderbilt's offensive potential is about to be unlocked. Diego Pavia will feast.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton, and on this episode, we're going to discuss Vanderbilt's offensive performance, or their potential, rather, and they can unlock it with improved line play. What is Diego Pavia in this offense capable of? And I think with improved depth, it makes them able to be more dynamic. And also the strong side, quick side philosophy. What are the benefits of that? What is Vanderbilt set to gain from having a unique philosophy along their offensive line? The potential is there. It's going to be unlocked. This is going to be a lot of fun watching this offense this season. Now we're going to wrap up the show by discussing the impact of winning the Bama series and what to expect in this midweek game versus Louisville. So thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So I know this seems like an obvious topic. Improved line play is going to unlock the potential of this offense. Yes, it absolutely will. Here's why, though. Okay, because I think one of the reasons I want, I'm impressed with the recruiting along the offensive line in the portal. Mostly, I wish there would have been a few more high schoolers coming in, but the portal guys, you're going to have a full starting five from the portal, which is going to be unique, but. I'm very impressed with the potential of this offense, and I firmly believe that you're about to see a whole new level of Vanderbilt offense. And I just want to reiterate that, really, because I think everybody kind of knows it. But I think also everyone's pretty leery of this offensive line play because at times last season it wasn't great. And I think a lot of it was because guys were banged up. People were having to shuffle around. People were getting used to the strong side, quick side thing. I think people were still trying to get used to Coach K and Coach Beck and the system, and things were just not, it wasn't all the way in. It wasn't all the way installed. It wasn't, it's first year stuff. It's common first year stuff. Nothing to panic about, but I think some people probably have the wrong idea about this offensive line, which, is, I think they're going to be woken up this year with how things are going to be because the depth is improved, and I think the schemes are going to further develop because with improved offensive line play, you're going to be able to get so much out of it. Okay, you're going to be able to push the envelope of what you're able to do offensively because I think they wanted to last year, and I think Coach Beck wanted to, Coach Kill wanted to. I think they wanted to put the gas pedal down, but they just couldn't. You could see when they got gassed out, you could see when everything just kind of went downhill a little bit. I'm not going to say it was terrible, but I just don't think it was as effective as it was early in the season because guys get tired, guys get banged up. It's a tough physical position, probably one of the toughest in all of sports to play week in and week out, play in and play out, just banging and banging and banging, and so it's tough to play. And so you can't progress if those guys just aren't progressing along with you. Like if those guys aren't playing well, if those guys aren't healthy, it's hard to really do a whole lot. It's really hard to develop a passing game when you lose the ability to protect on a consistent basis. It's hard to really gear up towards pass protection when you can't really run the ball as effectively as you could in the beginning of the season. When that's your identity, especially, it makes it tough to kind of go through the offense. I think that's why you saw that late season slide. A lot of it was just because this team just ran out of gas. They didn't have the depth, and it was tough to build depth after what happened in 23. and the roster the way it was, it just made it difficult. And it's nobody's fault. It just, it is what it is. So with this improved line play, I think getting 7-6 with the bowl win was absolutely incredible with what they were able to do. They were finally able to regroup, and go into the bowl game a lot more fresh. And you saw the result. You saw what this offense is capable of and how they're able to move the ball on a more consistent basis. Now, you throw in the fact that this is Diego Pavia's last year. You've got a really good, capable backup now in Blaise Berlowitz that the coaching staff feels really good about. And now you're able to unlock some of the quarterback run game stuff that you were kind of leery on unlocking a year ago. So with that, this is the one I want right here. The impact of offensive line play on the whole offense, man. It just, I think what it really, and when I was thinking about it, these are some of the notes that I took. This is kind of like the broad version. We'll explain them, but it helps the offense impose its identity of physicality in the run game. I think when you have depth, you're able to rotate fresh bodies in there and not have a drop off in quality. I think you're able to just keep hammering down, and you can impose your physicality. You can impose your will. I think the teams that are able to do that, like Ohio State did it this past year when Georgia was winning national championships. They were doing it when Alabama was winning national championships. They were doing LSU, so on and so forth. A good imposing run game means you have great depth along the offensive line, and you're able to establish that physical nature, and it spreads throughout the team, right? If you're being physical and your offensive line is hammering down, it is absolutely impressive to see. And also, when you have an offensive line that's got great depth and is playing well, it provides the offense with versatility to be able to create opportunities in the run game as well. I think you're able to do more dynamically in the run game, and it sets up for so much other things. Like versatility goes beyond the run game. It sets up for play action. It sets up for RPO. I mean, I think you just unlock a whole new avenue of your offense that is, that you couldn't do before. Like, I think if you can keep teams off balance, that's when you're able to really strike. And that's early on what Vanderbilt was able to do. They were able to do that at Virginia Tech. They never really got comfortable. Maybe for a brief moment in the third quarter, Virginia Tech got kind of comfortable. They started making a few stops, and Vanderbilt, I think, was a little bit gassed, but they were able to regroup within that game, and they were able to go and win that opener, which I think set the tone for the rest of the season. I think against Auburn, they were able to grind Auburn's defense down to a nub because they just kept going and kept going and kept going. And they were able to just, like I said, impose their physicality, impose their identity on Auburn. And I think that's why they were able to really get that tough physical matchup with them. And, they were able to create opportunities in the run game. They were able to get some things with the power shovel. They were able to get some things play action. Against Alabama, they were able to hit that play action 4th and 1 deep shot for a touchdown. Like those things, when your offensive line is firing off in the run game, you get those opportunities. And Vanderbilt did not miss a lot of those opportunities, and Diego Pavia did a great job of taking advantage of all of that. Now you got some more possibilities, and if you open it up even more. And then also, if the offense wants to push the ball vertically, it gives the quarterback time to deliver. It gives the quarterback confidence to be able to deliver a great ball to his receivers. I think with those long bomb touchdowns that you got against LSU, that you got against Missouri, I can't think of any others right now. I think there was a deep shot to in the Virginia Tech game as well. But Pavia was able to sit back there and really deliver a good quality ball, and we were able to capitalize off of it. If Pavia's got guys in his face, he can't, like against South Carolina. A lot of people struggled against those guys, but I think when you got defenders in your face pressuring you, it gets a little bit nerve-wracking, and you can't deliver as well as you would like. So it obviously helps in the pass game, and obviously gives a lot of confidence to the quarterback and allows him to be able to go through his progressions very effectively. And I think for this year, I think because you're going to have better depth, I think you're going to have a better passing game because the quarterback's going to be able to sit back there. I think you're going to be able to get guys open, and these receivers are going to play better than they are and better than they are projected. So I'm really excited about it. I think, with this improved depth, it's going to give you a whole lot of options here with this offense. I just think things are going to expand in a general sense. I think you're going to see more. I think you're going to get more confident skill guys that are going to be able to now. They're not worrying about. They're not worrying about, is my blocking going to be there? Is Diego going to have time to get me the ball? Am I going to be able to get the edge, or whatever it is, depending on the position, whatever it is they're thinking about. Now they can think about, hey, okay, how can I run this route? How can I beat my defender? How can I get to the next level? I'm going to make the safety miss, or whatever it is. Now that's what they're thinking about. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is nothing like an offensive line is dominating, right? One of those, this offensive line is absolutely crushing people, boost of confidence that you get from that. There's no feeling like it, because when your offensive line is battling and they're humming along and they're all in unison and they're just dominating and they're just powering over and rough-shotting and road grading the defensive line, there's no better feeling. Everybody's hyped. Everybody wants the ball. You're getting chunk yardage. You're getting big plays. You're getting an offense that's in sync, and you're getting a confidence boost, and you're playing well above your heads. And that's how you win games like the Alabama game. That's how, when you had no business even in the game against Missouri, that's when you get to that point to where you are one play away, essentially, from winning that game in double overtime. You are, that's how you get some confidence early in the LSU game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to keep that confidence, but they were able to have it there early on. That's how you get the confidence to finish off a game like Virginia Tech. Like, you get that offensive line. There was a run like midway through the second quarter in that very first game where the offensive line just bulldozed everybody, and Cedric Alexander ran over somebody. And I haven't seen that offense so hyped after that, man. They finished out the half on fire. I mean, they were just falling forward on everything. They were getting chunk yardage. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. And to see that confidence boost that these guys played with, even when things were getting down, even when the defense was stopping them, even when Virginia Tech's defense was stopping them, they were still coming off confident. They were still moving the ball a little bit. They were still getting first downs. They were still controlling the clock, even though they weren't necessarily putting up points. Now, I think Virginia Tech was a good team at that point, and they were doing all the right things offensively in the second half with some adjustments that they made. So they made some plays, but I think this offense had their confidence intact, so they were able to withstand Virginia Tech's best shot, go out there and finish the game in overtime. And so I was thoroughly impressed with that, and I think that's going to carry over, because now you've got a better roster. Now you've got a better offensive line room than you had in that game. So I think it's only going to improve from here, because your offense is going to expand. Now, here's one of the things I love about this offensive line. And I wasn't sure about it at first. I'll be honest, I wasn't. I didn't really know a ton about it, if I'm being honest. Like, I was always just kind of used to the left tackle, right tackle, left side, right side type philosophy, and the offensive linemen need to be good at everything type scenario. And I just wasn't sure if it would work in the SEC. I just wasn't sure. And lo and behold, I think it does work. I'm a big fan of this philosophy now. I understand it a lot better, and I'm really, really big fans. It's the strong side, it's the strong side, quick side offensive line philosophy, not weak. It's not a weak side. It's a quick side. It's a strong side. How does it impact recruiting? How does it, how do you understand it, and what are the benefits of it? I really love it. We'll talk about it next. But what I want to talk about is FanDuel, because guess what? The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. The NHL is doing the same. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never a better time to get in on the action. And FanDuel, they make it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have even more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So here's the thing, man. Like I've been a big fan of Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, right? He's showing up in the biggest moments, and you have to kind of look at how the Timberwolves are feeding him. And so I think I've got somebody that, I'm going to follow him throughout the playoffs, or like Jason Tatum with the Celtics, or things like that, or what is Steph Curry going to do? So how could a $200 bonus in bets add excitement if your first $5 bet hits? Like, how sick would it be? How dope would it be to bet a $5 bet on like Anthony Edwards' point total? Let's say he sets his over under at 23.5 points. Let's say you bet the over and he gets it. And it's an exciting game. It gives you something to watch with the NBA. It gives you something to bet on. And it makes hockey even exciting as well. Like I think watching the NHL is more exciting with FanDuel. And even though I don't know how to bet it, I have no idea how to bet hockey, so don't ask me on that one. But I think there's a lot of great things you can do. And so check out all the playoff odds, all the player props. They change. The live betting is my favorite. I do it with baseball too. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And speaking of you everydayers, thank you. If you're an everydayer, if you're a first timer, second timer, if you're a fan of another team just visiting and just passing by every once in a while, I certainly appreciate all listeners, all viewers, all whoever you're here. If you made me part of your day, I appreciate you. And if you're still around in the second segment and third segment for me to tell you that, I really do appreciate that as well. So thank you. And if you need a second listen, when you're done here, look at Locked On SEC and look at the entire lineup of SEC shows out there. There's a lot of great stuff. If you're just interested in SEC sports, Locked On SEC is a place for you to go. Chris Gordy does a phenomenal job with that, covers the entire conference. So he doesn't skip a beat there with, like I said, Locked On SEC. So, but here's the thing, man. I'm a big fan of this, okay? And I'll admit, guilty as charged. I was skeptical at first. I wasn't sure how this was going to work, how the guys were going to catch on to it, if defenses were going to be able to read it and adjust and things like that. I wasn't sure. And it's the strong side, quick side philosophy along the offensive line. I think it's great. And I studied it a little bit. I talked with Kurt Page a little bit. Him and I coached together. I think it's a great philosophy. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because, I just want you guys to be happy and all that stuff. I would love it if you guys were happy. But I really do think it works. I really do think for Vanderbilt and what they do, it works. And for Vanderbilt's unique identity with scheme, it also with philosophy and fundamental philosophy, I think it fits into the uniqueness of what Vanderbilt is doing offensively to really kind of get things going and really build that identity and really build into that identity. Because at Vanderbilt, and it's not an unfortunate thing. I know people are like, unfortunately, you got to think different. You got to go outside the box. It's not an unfortunate thing to go outside the box. I don't know where people get that from, but I think you do actually have to go outside the box. And I think that's great. I love out of the box thinking. I love, I love when people go non-conventional and it works. I think when you have a blend of conventional things and you make it your own, like one of my least favorite things, because I'm a football coach, or I've retired from the sport of football as far as coaching goes. This is my new sport. But one of the things I hated is I called it offense in a box. It's those like systems that people sell, to make money. It's like, okay, here's your system. Here it is in a box, right? I don't like that. I like the idea of being able to, take concept here, like a la carte. I'm an a la carte type of offensive guy. Like I want to, obviously you have to make it all work in harmony, but I kind of like the a la carte method of, okay, let's see how these pieces can work together. Let's see if I can make this work for what we want to try to do. And it tends to make you more creative because you have to figure out, you have to troubleshoot it. You have to anticipate all of the potential pitfalls. And so this is it's a great way of thinking, in my opinion. If you're a young coach, I think you ought to, not just go with the grain and say, okay, I'm spread. This is what spread is. I'm air raid. This is what air raid is. I am spread option. This is what spread option is. Like I think you have to go a la carte style. I think it's good for your creativity to have to go outside the box a little bit and go unique with your style and experiment with different schemes, experiment with different looks, motions, anything you can do manipulation wise to manipulate the defense. You have to experiment with that kind of stuff because that's what unlocks your creativity. And as a play caller, you need a lot of creativity because the guy across the field is doing the same thing. He's going to invent ways to stop you. And it's easier to invent ways to stop you when there's a lot of research out there on how to stop you because you took this offense in a box and you paid money for it and you're watching, there's a lot of merit to that. But if you're creative and you got your own way, it's a lot tougher for them to try to figure you out because you. Anyway, I digress because I'm talking about the strong side, quick side philosophy. And guess what? I'm going to talk about that next because, I wanted to say that piece about creativity. We're going to push baseball midweek against a ranked Louisville. We're going to push that because I think they actually play tomorrow. I think that's going to be an important series. The Battle of the Barrel. It's a midweek game. This is creating. We're starting to, and I really love that this game is scheduled this late because it's creating that tournament type atmosphere, and I think that's going to be important for the guys to be able to get through that. But we'll probably push that to the next episode. But I want to talk about the strong side, quick side philosophy. But I'm gonna do it next. All right. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. And you're finding the right talent. And if you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivered incredible results. And the hiring is fast and easy, and posting a job is free and simple, and within a day with multiple qualified candidates to choose from. And there's cost-effective growth as well. And instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps you find affordable top-tier freelancers to scale my business efficiently. So visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's upwork.com, Upwork.com, to connect with your top talent and grow your business today. All right, welcome back. If you're a third segment listener, I appreciate you guys being here. This is amazing. Thank you for joining us. At Locked On Vandy is the social media handle. At Coach Burton 36. That's my personal X account, so you should check that out as well. So anyway, baseball midweek game against Louisville on May 7th. I think that's going to be something to behold. That's going to be an important series. But I didn't want to rush talking about this. I think I want to give it its due because it's a great philosophy, and I think it takes advantage of some creativity that I was talking about earlier. I think as an offensive play caller, there's nothing more important than creativity. But doing your strong side, quick side philosophy, I think that buys into the unique style of what Vanderbilt wants to do offensively. Now, these are the highlights, but I think the most important thing is you get to allow yourself to tailor to the strengths of your offensive line. Okay. You don't have to have the perfect offensive tackle. You don't have to have the perfect offensive guard. You can identify certain traits and say, okay, this guy is a devastating run blocker, great at down blocking, great, understands combos, and they're great at blocking first level defenders. They're, as my guard, I have a guard that's great at combos, a guard that's great at flat pulling, things like that. That's going to be my strong side. All of those attributes in the run game is going to tap into my strong side. Now, my quick guard, my quick tackle are better, more athletic. They're better in space. They're typically better in pass protection. They're more athletic. They're more agile. They can pull if you want to run a dart play, or if you want to run a lead for a toss, or if you need to reach somebody on an outside zone play. They are really good at reaching one side or the other. They're really good at cutting off. They're really good at climbing to the second level, blocking in space. They're just going to be typically your more athletic, agile offensive lineman. And so then your center's your center. Depends on kind of what you want in the run game. Do you want your center to be able to, if you're going to see a lot of zero nose, like you want your center to be kind of bigger and be able to handle those zero noses, or if you're playing a lot of open fronts where your center's uncovered, you want a more athletic guy that's going to be able to combo and understand and get off on a linebacker, and also just be able to get straight up to a linebacker and block those guys in space. So I really love it because it allows you to tailor to the strengths of your offensive line. It allows you to identify what are the strongest attributes of this tackle versus this tackle. Okay, well, this tackle's faster. This tackle's bigger. He's better in run support. He is, he's going to, when he down blocks you, he's going to knock you into next week. Okay, that's my strong guard. And then you're able to flip those guys. And so they understand the concept from a strong side, quick side perspective, and they're able to have some adaptability, and they're able to flip those guys, and you're able to put the strength. If you want to put the strength in the boundary, you can. So teams can't get a beat on you as far as field boundary and other tendencies, but you're able. It's adaptable to your talent, and it allows you to identify certain traits. Also, it allows for adaptability versus any defensive front and the ability to create mismatches, because when you're flipping those guys, if teams are field boundary based, if they're field position based, if they are numbers based, or however they identify their strengths, you can kind of figure that out. And now you can create some mismatches by putting your strong side against their quote weak side or their fast side, right? And so if you can create some advantageous blocking angles in your run game, you're going to get a lot of yardage. And I think Vandy was able to do that a lot. And I think that's where they were able to get a lot of their yards in the run game. And then, I think with practice, I think you have better, more effective and efficient learning. I think guys getting that specialized training is beneficial. They get used to, and even, when they're learning the schemes and they're learning and they figure out exactly what you're trying to accomplish in those schemes, you start to get those guys involved and bought in to the point where now they're coming off the sideline and saying, hey, this is what they're doing. Here's what we should do. Here's how we should manage that. And then now you're getting a smarter, more effective offensive lineman, because they've learned kind of the overall concept of the play and what you want, and they've learned how they fit into that, and they've learned how now we can in the next level, when they learn how to manipulate the defense, they've got it. And of course, in recruiting, it allows you to take a quote flyer based on certain attributes, like this guy. He would have been a flyer anywhere else, but I think he's a strong tackle candidate because of what he can do in the run game and how well he blocks down, how well he is, how well he performs in his run blocking technique. So It allows you to take a chance on some guys that most big programs wouldn't. And I think you can find, you find some of these productive offensive linemen that probably wouldn't be productive at certain places because, they're not really a right tackle or they're not really a left tackle. They don't really kind of fit into that box. But hey, they have a certain set of skills that they do well. They have a certain set of skills that they do okay and then to improve on. Where does that fit you? Typically, it's more definable with those certain attributes if you do like a strong side, quick side, because now you're able to start with the run game and say, okay, how does he run block? How does he pass pro? And then you can kind of make some determination. How is his athleticism? How are his feet? How well does he move in space? Is he a space eater? Does he block down really well? Does he combo really well? Can he pull? Can he pull on a screen? Like all those things you can evaluate a lot simpler with the fact that, he does this well, but he doesn't do that well. Is he going to fit well at right tackle? Well, we're going to have to see. And, it's just, I think it cleans that process up a lot too. So it's really good for a lot of reasons. And I don't know. I think it might be making a comeback. I think you might see it be successful. But anyway, speaking of being successful, baseball needs to continue that trend of winning. I think this offensive line and the fact that Clark Lea has put a premium on building these trenches, like I mentioned in the last episode, I think this is going to make this thing really, really go. And I think this improved line play is going to unlock so much potential for Vanderbilt. And I think you're going to be excited about it. I'm excited. You should be too. But until next time, we'll see you back here. Like, subscribe, all of that stuff, pass it along. Let's build that subscriber base up. Let's get to 1,000 before football season. And I'll come out and do a live show during a tailgate next season. But we'll see you back here next time. Behave yourselves. Anchor down. Peace.